Pokemon as a franchise, at least on the game side of things, is one of the most upsetting declines in quality that I've ever seen. Pokemon Sapphire is one of my favorite games ever, mainly because that's the first one that I played, and it's the one that I played a ton of growing up. I have a special nostalgic connection to that game, the way a lot of people have a special nostalgic connection to one of the Pokemon games. For me, it's Sapphire. For you, it's something worse. And while there's nothing wrong with knowing your audience and sticking to a working formula if you're a game developer, Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, and most notably Nintendo have undeniably been phoning it in with Pokemon over the last few years, which is absolutely part of the reason why Palworld exploded the way that it did. You see this, Nintendo? You see this? This is what happens when you leave the market wide open for someone to do your job better than you. This is also what happens when you make it incredibly easy to do your job better than you. Ultimately, I place the blame for Pokemon's decline wholeheartedly on Nintendo. You can blame Game Freak if you want, you can blame the Pokemon Company if you want, but at the end of the day, it's Nintendo that sets the budgets and timelines for the games, and none of the shit Pokemon games would have seen the light of day if Nintendo didn't allow them to. This is the same company that allegedly prides itself on making super amazing games all the time and has really high standards of quality for all of their releases, and yet Pokemon has been allowed to look like this for the last decade. Yeah, this is on Nintendo. Game Freak may have been phoning it in, but Nintendo is the one picking up the calls, if you catch my drift. And Pokemon fans, frankly, you only have yourselves to blame. You're the ones buying it year after year and allowing the quality standards to drop so drastically. You are the one who enabled this. They learned it from watching you, Dad. Which is why when Beast of Reincarnation, Game Freak's new game, was revealed the other day, it left the internet rather surprised, because we all have seen Game Freak phoning it in over the last decade. Although, to be fair, it's not like Souls-likes are a risky investment the way they used to be. I'll have a Souls-like. How original. With a fantasy setting. Daring today, aren't we? But the point is, Beast of Reincarnation looks to be the most Game Freak has actually tried with something in a long time. Sure, the frame rate looks jank and the concept is played out, but cut them some slack, you know? They've just been drawing animals slightly wrong for the last 10 years and getting mindlessly praised for it. But a funny thing has been happening with this. Some people within the same community that have been eating up Pokemon and allowing Game Freak to become complacent, some people in that community are now turning around and acting like Beast of Reincarnation is the most offensive thing of all time. Pokemon wasn't an issue before, we were buying it like crazy and eating it all up, but now that Game Freak is making something that isn't Pokemon, and now that they're clearly putting more effort into something that isn't Pokemon, suddenly, not only is Pokemon bad, but also Game Freak are somehow committing an offensive dirty crime by not just drawing animals wrong and slapping them in the same buggy, outdated gameplay skeleton they've been spamming at you for the last decade. This one's weird. I don't think the Nintendo Pokemon faithful are really sure how to take this, but let's just read what they're saying. Majora's Ass says, "Fuck off, Game Freak, put this energy into making Pokemon." And they also said somewhere else, Game Freak should be putting this energy into making Pokemon. Not many have the opportunity to work with Nintendo. Couple things. Put this energy into making Pokemon. Why would they? You buy it either way. Well, not many companies have the opportunity to work with Nintendo. You gotta put some effort into working with Nintendo. Well, they haven't been doing that recently, and you rewarded them for it anyways. So really, what are you even trying to say? Why would they put energy into Pokemon? You buy it either way without criticism. Why would they put energy into Pokemon? People cheer on Nintendo trying to sue Palworld for looking like Pokemon. You can say that you need to demand better from Game Freak and demand better from the Pokemon franchise, but your community is looking the other way while Nintendo literally tries to sue their competition out of existence instead of giving you a better product. And you're still here repping the Nintendo brand in your username. Not many people have the opportunity to work with Nintendo. They need to work harder. They need to show they're worthy of working with Nintendo. But again, Nintendo is the one that's been allowing this to go on. I'm sure Game Freak would put in a lot more effort into Pokemon if Nintendo told them to do so. And in order for Nintendo to tell them to do so, you need to give Nintendo a reason to tell them to do so, which none of you seem willing to do, regardless of how bad the franchise gets. I say it again, you did this. You enabled this. Nintendo may be greenlighting it, Nintendo may be signing off on it, they're signing the checks, they're publishing the games, but they wouldn't be publishing the games like this if you didn't prove over and over and over again that you don't give a shit how bad they are. 21 Grams says, honestly, it's not that good. You can make this an Unreal Engine 5 without a great team. On one hand, yeah, no, a lot of the stuff in that trailer did look generic. It did look kind of stock. See, above point about Fantasy Souls-likes not really being all that impressive anymore. But at the same time, are we really about to criticize this for looking low effort? And like you don't need a great team to put this together, but this? Like, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I just want to point out the irony here. Pokemon has been looking like this, but then the developers are given a little more time and space to work and come up with this. And your response is, just doesn't look that good. It doesn't look that good. You don't need a great team to make something like that. As opposed to what they were making before? I don't get you. AC Penguin says, we will be boycotting until they make Pokemon look like this. Like where was this energy before? Where was this before? We're gonna boycott until Pokemon looks like this. Well, Pokemon looked like ass up to this point, and you weren't boycotting it yet. Like, literally nothing changed other than the developers reminding you that they are competent game developers. Like what, so you want Pokemon to be made in Unreal Engine? You want Pokemon to look like hyper-realistic? Is that what you mean? Well, no, we just mean we want Pokemon to be more polished and more like, it look like it has more effort put into it, like this does. Oh, well, you didn't mind that it didn't have that effort 5 seconds ago. Are you seeing the comedy here? Pokemon is shit year after year. It gets worse and worse, and you're totally fine with it. Then the developers go off and make their own thing outside of the Pokemon brand, and it looks a lot more interesting, a lot more high effort, because obviously it does. They're not working with Pokemon or Nintendo on this one. And then you turn around and be like, nope, suddenly, now, we're boycotting. We're not boycotting because of the quality of the product that we've been buying. We're boycotting because the developers are capable of doing more outside of the Pokemon brand. But that couldn't possibly be a problem with the management of the Pokemon brand. No. Couldn't possibly be a problem with that. I mean, we've been eating that up for so many years. It couldn't possibly be a problem with that. It's simply a problem with the developer. That's not how this works. Righteous says, y'all are annoying. It's like saying Mario Wonder sucks because it doesn't look like Xenoblade. God forbid something have visual charm. Right, because this is visual charm. I don't know if you're intentionally missing the point or if you actually just are this dense. The criticisms being levied at Pokemon and the comparison being drawn with Game Freak's new game, it's not just because of visual quality. It's because of polish. It's because of gameplay. It's because of a clear increase in effort. And it's also a lack of shit like this. This is not visual charm. Are we really trying to write off all of the issues with Pokemon as just being visual charm? Or just remember to keep this energy next time a Bethesda game comes out and there's bugs in it. You're like, well, it's the visual charm. The game barely functions. It runs like a PowerPoint and I'm clipping through the floor. It's just visual charm. But this new game from Game Freak with a more realistic art style, ugh, no visual charm there. Pokemon's better. Charlie Chewbacca says, it's the Switch's fault. Tiny little GPU with 4 gigs shared RAM. Game Freak should have scaled all their Switch games back. No. Stop. It is not the Switch's fault. The Witcher 3 can run on the Switch. Hogwarts Legacy can run on the Switch. The issues with Pokemon in recent years is not the fault of the Switch. It's the fault of rushed developers and no quality assurance, because why would they give you quality assurance? You're going to buy it anyways. It is not the fault of the Switch. It is the fault of people like you who keep buying it. End of story. They wouldn't be phoning it in if you hadn't enabled them to make the calls. Gato Epico says Game Freak being able to make actually good-looking games when they're not forced to work with decade-old hardware. Damn. Again, it's not the Switch's fault. Also, this game is coming out on the Xbox Series S, a system that is half a decade old and very underpowered, and yet the game's gonna come out on that. Hardware is not the issue. Passion is the issue. A desire to make something good is the issue. The space from publishers to make something good is the issue. But apparently we're just not allowed to talk about that. One more. Pink Furry says, Game Freak can develop these types of games but not for Nintendo and can't put this level of technique for Nintendo games? Then who is at fault for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Creatures Inc.? Also, why is this not on the Switch too? So many questions. Then they get a response that says, a children's video game will never look like this, nor would you ever want it to. You're not a Pokemon fan, mate. You're just a fan of fancy graphics that look loud and overwhelming. So, aside from the fact that we think a children's video game can't have nice graphics, which I don't even know where to go with that. But also, you're not a Pokemon fan if you're impressed by this trailer. You're just a fan of fancy graphics. As if Pokemon fans aren't taken in by just appealing visuals. As if that's not a hook for Pokemon fans at this point. Look, I'm glad that Game Freak is branching out. I really am glad that they're getting some space to work on something. It may not be the most original thing in the world. Maybe it would have been like 5-6 years ago. Not even then, maybe like 10 years ago. But I'm happy to see them actually doing something outside of the Pokemon brand. You know what I mean? I'm happy to see them spread their wings a little bit. As played out as the wings may be, as janky as the frame rate on their wings may be, I'm happy to see them actually doing something. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I want to see what they build from this. I want to see what the end product looks like, and I want to see if this means that, if this is like the start of a trend with them. I want to see if this is the beginning of them branching out and doing more good things, or if this is something that is just a one-off and then they go back to schlocking out Pokemon every year. But if it hurts your feelings that the developer of Pokemon is capable of doing something like this, maybe you should demand more from Pokemon. Because if the Pokemon developers are capable of doing something with more effort put into it, maybe it's not the developer's fault. Or at least not entirely. Maybe it's at least in part your fault for enabling such low-effort products, because you buy them every year. Maybe you need to send a message to the people giving the marching orders, which means stop fucking buying Pokemon every year. Just go play Sapphire instead. It's better. Doofus Club. Jimmy Chops, Close the Door, I'm Touching Myself. Michael Musio, Master Killer, Firestorm 2056, Demetrius Papajou, Showbiz, NCNA, Banshee, Tom Schnorlax, and Omega, Moltheme, Dan Porter Brivage, Moan Man Savage, Binary Deviant, Oracle, Unknown 186718, Kev Dog 1992, Zombie Killer 5072, Official Dreg, Smash Star, the stupidest name imaginable just for Joe the Furry, my love. That's just wonderful. Bearbrain, Edbjorn 504, Grimsy, Edge Knight 1789, The Caffeine Addict, Corporal Dixon, Kushka, Unicorn Rocco, Opossum, Bender Fondue, Ass Shitter 69420, Nintendo can eat my ass, someone check on Armin Smith, Thomas Bocan, Dial Up, Kyle Ward 789, Sense Nakage, and on Volat, Take Old Biddies, Partial Mean 8, Nick, Volksalto, JJ Dusty, Hail the New Pubcod, Stop It, Codman 4372WX, I need a stupid name for Joe to read out loud for everyone to see, Silverrock, Gold Pyrex, Zombie Fan, All Around the One, since you refuse Cap Mail, I will shit under the fridge, go check, Doug, Nigsy Smile, Blast 1340, Snake Eyes 327, Devastator 2000, Joe, please tell us touch tip, you sexy man, MK2396E, I'm still in the moat, Joe, please get help, Hentai X, Machina Gamma, Lee Wolf, Fire Hazard 105, Club the Penguin, GWXSS, Rast the Wolf, Evan Co, Okie Toodles, Tech Gaming Song, Jungle Zone, Slim Jim, Willie Zer, Gaming with Them People, All Games Video, Japanese name that means Pokemon, Max Killer, V2 Gaming, Biscuit 1101, Todd Howard's our Lord and Savior, Chris Void, Pope Ralph the Rat King, Justice Shepard, Ricky's Battle, Ricky's Gadabby, Muskie, I'm not hyper GTA 6, it doesn't look that interesting to me, Karumi the Steel Angel, PlayStation is run by ants, Sergeant Jason Baum, Baron Von Vaderham, Cyrus 6771, don't call me a doofus, it hurts my feelings, Jude X 940, I'm Joe's phone text notification, ding.mp4, Fuck. The first doofus, Creed Warrior 23, Max Chev, Chap is going away for a while, take care for now, Totally Insane, Even Data Autry, Black Cobra, The Enwa Slayer, Knight of Cypher, ML04, I own 6 copies of Click 2006 on Blu-ray, Oh No It's a Bald Banana Man, Wolf of Midnight, Sig Rider, Pig, Venus, Steve Wynn Studios, Film Kraken, Ohm Gaming, Tariq Brown, Thornscape, Magnex, Server, Emirates, Responding 03, it's Calendar Finger, Why Makes it Pow Pow, Why Trouble, Donnie Weston, Nick Donegan, Draws Mex on Twitch, come hang y'all, Gob Gobson, Rogue Winter 19, Bobby Hinder, Canny, Kit and Fanny, Hangman for Hire, Elden Noble, Frost Crystal, Biogenesis, Ian in Action, Floppy Pinkus 97, Mega Key, Scruffy Skull, Ghost Ho, Ryusagi, DeJojo 6, Vast Grove, Arthur Tim, The Amazing Blight Man, Blue Hook, So, Joe from Salty Salmon, Portland Slap, this is Jeff, fuck, I'm the fan of the Bugs Life PS1 game, Jody Breeze, Smitty Worker, Jaegerman Jensen, Maxwell the Cholo Zord, Mick Advertisement, Diego Garcia, JJ Dusty, Mike Begins, I'm American Idiot, Darth Muffin, Oh No It's Justin, Red Roy, 20 Way, Mechanical Resonance, Extreme Wolf 7, Joey Scoops, Negative Creep, Joe Taku, Recovering Alcoholic, Wannabe Hobo, Jidge, Westa, Bill at 310 Char, Rob C, Veg, Group Banana, Curtin Allen's back, the Scrum Master, Scroll with a Gun makes my nuts go pew pew. Squirrel with a Gun is a good game. You should play that. It's good. I finished it over the weekend. It's good. It's good. It's good. Peach is good. You know what I like? Calzones. What the hell's wrong with this guy? Okay, toodles.